So if I come here and tell you, hey guys, I found the solution to one of your biggest problems in your career, what would you say to me? Some of you might be like, yay, tell me more. Some of you might be like, yeah, right. Some of you might reject me. But rejection is exactly what I'm talking about. Not rejection per se, but the fear of rejection, that's one of the biggest problems you will face in your career. This type of fear that, keep us in line, make sure people like us, make sure we don't do anything crazy. But it's also a type of fear that holds us back from getting what we want and asking for what we need, and sometimes even achieving our dreams. I did find a solution to that problem. But before I go there, I'll tell you a little bit about who I am and how I got there. Raise your hand if you like gifts. Okay, almost all of you. Okay, for the couple of you who didn't raise your hand, put that on LinkedIn. It's an interesting fact. When I was 6, I got my gift. I grew up in Beijing, China, by the way. My first grade teacher had this brilliant idea. She wanted us to get holiday gifts, but also learn the virtue of complimenting each other. So she had all of us come to the front of the room. There were 40 of us, and she bought us gifts and stacked them in the corner. She said, why don't we say nice things about each other? If you hear your name called, go pick up a gift and sit down. What a great idea, right? What could possibly go wrong? Well, it started with 40 people, and then there were 20 left, and then there was 10 left, 5 left, and 3 left, as the compliments stopped. And I was one of them. At that moment, I didn't want compliments anymore. I didn't want gifts anymore. I just want to go and sit down. And I was crying, and I didn't know why people wouldn't say nice things about me. And I thought I was popular, I was helpful. Then I saw who was standing next to me. Those were 2 very unpopular kids I hated. I knew otherwise. And I would die not to be in that situation again, getting rejected in public. And the teacher was freaking out. And she was like, oh my gosh, would anyone say anything nice about these people? No one? Okay, go pick up your gift and sit down and behave better next year so someone will say something nice about you. As I'm describing this, you know how well I remember this. But I don't know who felt worse that day. Was that me or the teacher? She must realize that she turned her team building event into a public roast for 3 6-year-olds. And it wasn't funny either. When you were roasting Justin Bieber on TV, it was funny, but it wasn't funny that day. So that was one version of me, version 1.0, I guess. Then fast forward another 8 years. I was 14. This guy came to my hometown to speak. Not the guy to the right, the guy to the left. Bill Gates. He was promoting Windows 95 at the time. I don't know why this picture is in black and white. It's only 20 years ago. It wasn't like we're showing a World War II picture when General Patton showed up and Normandy or something. But I guess he didn't have the iPhone back then. I was listening to him talk, and I was just mesmerized. So that night, I wrote a letter to my family and telling them, hey, I want to be Bill Gates. By age 25, I will build the biggest company in the world. And that company will buy Microsoft. I just learned his idea of dominating the world so well. I didn't make this up. I did write this letter, and my family kept that letter for me, and here is what it is. It's bad handwriting, all in Chinese. I did highlight some keywords for you, so you kind of know what I'm talking about. And then in that letter, I also talked about in the future, I want to move to the US to fulfill that dream because that's where Bill Gates lived. He's cool. I want to be where the cool guy is. By the way, Bill Gates is cool in my eyes. I don't know about you. But so 2 years later, I was given the opportunity to come to the US to go to high school and college. And I did. And I thought this is going to be the great start of a great entrepreneur story, immigrant entrepreneur. I'll be the next Andrew Carnegie. But then something happened. One day I woke up. 14 years went by just really quickly. When I woke up, I'm 30. And just heard news from my wife, we're going to have a baby. I love babies. And I'm pro-baby, and I would recommend them to you, all of you. But one thing for sure, when you become a father, this chance of you building this great company goes way down. Looking back, I didn't build the biggest company in the world. I didn't even start. And also in my career, I was very stagnant. I did not share this story with other people until very recently. I wrote this article for Business Insider. I used to be an intern at LinkedIn, and I was number 180. And at the time, I was trying to impress everyone. I wanted that full-time job so bad. I was trying to impress everyone and I was staying late. Then one day I went into the kitchen. In came the CEO at the time, Dan Nye, and he was asking me, "Hey, what are you doing?" At that moment, oh my gosh, there's two versions of me was standing on my shoulder. One, he wanted to change the world. He's going to tell the CEO how awesome his work, how important his work is. He's going to get me invited to coffee. He's going to get promoted. and the other guy was afraid of rejection. I did not know what to do at that moment, and I lost it. And in 1 minute, I pieced all kind of words together, like cluster analysis, market size, and correlation. Somehow I felt that those all make sense to him and sounded important. It didn't. And so after a minute, he gave me a polite smile and saying, "Hey, good luck." I wanted to hit my head against the wall. And I probably did. I just don't remember now. Maybe I hit too hard. So, and then my confidence dropped. And my performance dropped, and I didn't get a full-time offer. It probably cost me millions of dollars. So looking back, it was like that fear of rejection, that 6-year-old was dominating my life. And every time I wanted to do something in my life, every time I wanted to step out and do something, every time in my career I wanted to speak up, I felt I was so afraid I shouldn't do it. And that type of fear even stayed with me after I started my own company. So I quit my job at age 30 and started my new company. If you want to be Bill Gates, you got to start sooner or later, right? 4 months into my venture, I already built a team. I had a product. Speaking of talent acquisition, my way of acquiring talent is going to the gym and saying, "Hey, I got this idea. You want to join?" So I built a team. I built a product, and I was having a good time. And I was presented with an investment opportunity, and I thought I was going to get it. I wanted it so bad, I dreamed about this on 5 different occasions. Each time I thought I was dreaming about getting this call from the investor and calling my parents and calling my wife and telling them the good news, and then I woke up. It sucked. Those were the dreams, then there was reality. One day I was at a restaurant celebrating a friend's birthday. They were singing all around me, happiness. Then this phone vibrated, and I put it out, and I saw this email from the investor. I look at it, it's just a one-liner email saying, "Nope, we're not going to do this." And it didn't tell me why, it didn't tell me how I can get a yes. So I had to stand up and just walk out so people wouldn't see me cry in front of them. And I couldn't believe how much I was hurt by that rejection. It wasn't like I wasn't smart, I thought I was. It wasn't like I wasn't well educated, but I couldn't believe how much rejection hurt me. I didn't want to quit. But that's where it really dawned on me. Wait, would Bill Gates want to give up after simple rejection, investment rejection? Would anyone successful in their career want to give up after meeting a CEO and not having a right pitch? No way. So if I want to do anything, I can build a better team, I can build a better product, I can build a better company. But one thing for sure, I got to be a better person. I got to be a better leader. I have to put that 6-year-old back to his place so he wouldn't bother me anymore. So I searched online, how do I overcome my fear of rejection? Google is my friend. I found this thing called rejection therapy. How many of you heard of rejection therapy? A couple of you, okay. It's a game that teaches you how to look for rejection on purpose. So the idea is you get rejected once per day for 30 days. By the end, you desensitize yourself from the pain, from rejection, and you become a badass. I love the idea of becoming a badass. I said, okay, I would not only do this, I will do this for not 30 days, I'll do this for 100 days. All right, I will use my imagination to come up with my own way to get rejected. And I will use my iPhone to film this experience. I would make a video blog or vlog about it, so the world would hold me accountable. So that's what I did, and this is what the blog looked like then. So for example, borrowing $100 from a stranger, and asking for a burger refill. That's what I did. And then one day, Super Bowl Sunday, I bought my chips and knocked on a stranger's door and said, hey, can I join you guys? I got chips. I got rejected on those. But strange things started to happen. People started to say yes to me, a lot of them. So one day, I knock on a stranger's door. I had the soccer ball in my hand. I knock on a stranger's door, and this guy came out, and I used to live in Texas, and so this guy came out. He has this giant Texas T-shirt, flag on his T-shirt. People do that in Texas. And and I said, sir, can I play soccer in your backyard? And he looked at me, soccer in my backyard. Then he saw I was all serious with shin guards and cleats, uniform all decked out. I was like, I guess so. Come on in. So he invited me into his backyard. I was all confused. So I bounced the ball off my foot, had a pose, took a picture, and I left. But before leaving, I asked him, how can you say yes to me? And he said, this is so off the wall. How can I say no? One day, I was driving down the highway. I saw a police car. So I flagged him down. I pulled him over. And I said, officer, can I drive your car? And I'm not going to drive it away. I'm far. I'm just going to, give it a spin, listen to a radio, pretend to be a police officer, feel what it's like. And he looked at me and was like, okay, sure. So I drove a police car. And not in the back either. And then one day I said, what's something that's so impossible to get a yes from? How about flying someone's plane? No one's going to say yes to me on that. So I went to an airfield and saw this pilot-looking guy, and I said, sir, can I fly your plane? And he was so happy to see me. He was like, yeah, you can fly my plane. I'll teach you how to fly. Let's go. I'm like, why? I had no license or no experience or courage to fly a plane. And it turned out he did not own a commercial jetliner. He owned a gyroplane. You know what a gyroplane is? It's like what James Bond uses. It's like a miniature helicopter or motorcycle in air type of thing. So I flew his plane. And I didn't make this up. I have the evidence for all of them. Then you can tell. But I want to show you. But if there's one thing I want to show you that shows this idea of looking for rejection but not getting it, and I want to show you the video. Here it is. I'm driving toward Krispy Kreme. I'm going to ask them to make me some specialized donuts. And we'll see what happens.
What kind of specialized donuts are you talking about?
I like to have you link the 5 donuts together, make them look like Olympic symbols.
Oh. And when are you looking to these?
Huh?
When?
The next 15 minutes?
Let me see what I can do.
Okay.
Try, but what do you think?
Wow. That is really good. That is really good. Yeah. All right. So do I pay there?
Don't even worry about that. One's on me.
Are you serious?
Ditto. Ditto.
You serious?
Very. Extremely.
Wow.
Extremely. That's my pleasure.
All right, Jackie. I'll take it. But man, you make me really happy today. All right. Thank you.
Very
All
well.
right. See you. Give me a hug. Okay.
Enjoy.
All right. Thank you. See you.
So, well, it was all in hidden camera. She did not know I was filming this. That's what the donut looked like. It was very sweet, but it felt sweeter. I couldn't believe the type of customer service or human kindness that was shown in that picture. I was just crying. By the way, a lot of you run teams, and wouldn't you want have someone like Jackie to work for you? Apparently the world couldn't believe that either. That video, the full version of that video was 5 minutes long. It got over 5 million views on YouTube. It was on media everywhere around the world. And I was internet famous for a moment. But the thing is, it's not about the fame for that's what inspired me, but was what the people started to send me emails and social media comments. There were like tens of thousands of them. I just couldn't believe they're telling me these stories. And somehow they felt what I was doing was inspiring. You know, it was like as if they're living through their fear through my eyes. And they started to make some changes in their lives after they see these videos. So there's stories like the artist who didn't share art, but now started to share her art, and she got picked up by national media. She was invited to Washington, D.C. to give an exhibit. And there was a guy who was in this job for a long time, and he never thought a change. He was afraid to make a change. Then so after watching this, he looked for a job that he didn't feel he was qualified for. Not only he got the job, now he's like running this entrepreneur center for the Fortune 500 company in UK. And then there's even a recruiter. He worked for Google, and he invited me to have lunch. And then he was like, I mean, he was a contractor. He said, I'm living in fear of rejection every day. I was like, what? You work for Google? How do you feel rejection? Don't people bang their head against the wall trying to get into Google? He said, yes, but I'm in the most competitive environment looking for talent. Not only I'm afraid of rejection from candidates, I'm afraid of rejection from hiring managers, I'm afraid of rejection from my own managers, and the one thing I hate the most is to give rejections. That's the worst part of my job. I hate saying no to people. And he was thanking me to help him with these videos. This got me a chance to see, wow, you know, I used to think I was the only one who was afraid of rejection, or maybe a few other people. It turned out everyone was afraid of rejection. And so I turned the rest of 100 Days of Rejection into a playground, into a lab. You know, I was a lab rat. You know, I was trying to put every persuasion, every negotiation theory I learned into this and see what make people tick, see how I can get more yeses. And I learned a few things. And the first about is, what is rejection? What is this monster we're so afraid of? It turned out that rejection is really a numbers game. In these 100 days, I could ask, I could ask anything I want, but if I want to get a yes, I just ask enough people. Someone will say yes to me in the end. It's almost as if there's a number associated with every rejection. Speaking of number, Harry Potter, the book, is the best-selling book in modern history. You would think a book that good, and when it first came out, all the publishers would be fighting over themselves trying to publish the book, right? The author, J.K. Rowling, she had to go through 12 different publishers to get her book published. And every time they told her the same thing. You know, this book is too long. This is a children's book with people dying in it. And it's dark magic. Who's going to read that? Try something else. Get a real job. It's on the 13th try. The chairman of the publisher, he rejected her as well, but he handed the manuscript to his granddaughter, who couldn't put it down. That's where it dawned on him. Maybe he should give this a try. So he published the Harry Potter book with very low expectations, and the rest is history. But think about this. If J.K. Rowling had to go through 12 different rejections to get Harry Potter published, how many rejections do we have to go through to find to sell our idea, to sell our company, to find that perfect candidate? And then rejection is just an opinion. You know, I think we need many things in this world. We need more love, sympathy for each other. In California, we need more water, for sure. But one thing we have plenty of is opinion. Just turn on the TV, especially 2 days ago, and get on internet, and everyone has something to say about something. They can't wait to tell you how they feel about something. And it's almost as if opinion is the cheapest resource on earth. You know, it's completely renewable too. But rejection is nothing more than the opinion and preference of someone else. It actually says more about the rejecter than you. In these 100 days, I could ask the same request to 10 different people. Someone say yes, someone say no. Someone would give me a hug. Someone would run away from me as fast as they can. But it says everything about that person's state of mind, what happened to him or the night before maybe, or maybe a lifelong of education, prejudice, or background. Has nothing to do with me. I was the same person making the same request, but said everything about that person. But somehow, when it comes to rejection, we personalize everything. We think it's all about us. It's all about our company, what we're trying to sell. That's why we take it so personally. It's not. It's all about. It's a lot about the rejecter as well. And then rejection is like a weight. I give this analogy. If you don't know how to handle weight, you're going to drop it on your feet. You're going to hurt yourself. But if you do know how to handle rejection, you can put it on the ground safely. Or better yet, you can use rejection to exercise and get stronger. In these 100 days, I became, by the end of it, I felt I could ask anything from anyone, anywhere, without a fear. I felt invincible. And even now, I train a lot of salespeople and even recruiters to do this, and to go get rejected in real life. And just in like an hour, they came back telling me their minds were blown. They never thought this was possible. They can like sell a pen on the street to people, and things like that. But they all told me by the end they became stronger. Every rejection made them stronger if they look for it. And then lastly, rejection is a source of knowledge. I even published a book. I'm not here to promote my book. Been there, done that. But what I'm saying is, I wrote this book because in these 100 days, I put myself in front of real people, getting real rejections. I went to a pretty good business school, and I thought I learned a lot about business. But in these 100 days, I feel I learned more about business, especially persuasion, especially communication and negotiation and sales, than I did at business school. I learned so many things about how do I turn a no into a yes, what can I say to maximize my chance of getting a yes, and also even how to say no to people without feeling like a jerk. Because there are times where people saying no to me, and I became a fan of them after they said it to me. But because of time, I just want to share what's the most important lesson I learned in these 100 days. Just two words. Just ask. Just ask. Remember I told you I flew someone's plane, right? When I think about flying, I think about going to the airport a couple hours early and taking my belts and shoes and make sure I walk through that cancer-inducing bone scanner and my pants won't drop in doing that. And sitting on dirty carpet charging my iPhone. That's my flying experience. But that day, I flew like a bird. For 1 minute, I was a couple feet above the cornfield. I was like a seagull looking for fish above the ocean. And the next minute, I was 1,000 feet in the air. I was kissing cloud. I was touching it. I was like an eagle. But all this time, there's only one question keep popping up in my mind. What if I haven't asked? What if I haven't asked? I would not have the best flying experience in my life. But what if in real life we don't ask for things? Maybe companies might not be built. Maybe art might not be shared. Maybe careers might not be advanced. Maybe the candidates might not be found. The reason we don't ask is because we think rejection is so negative, so scary. So by us avoiding the negative, we're achieving net positive, right? That's actually a trick and lie our body and mind tells ourselves every day because they want to stay comfortable. Because when we're not getting out there, getting rejected, we're just rejecting ourselves by default. So no matter what you do, don't reject yourself. And coming back to me, the gift. For the most of my life, I was running away from rejection. Rejection was my monster, was the boogeyman. And it cost me millions of dollars. But as soon as I stopped running away from it, I started embracing it and chasing after it, rejection became the best gift of my life. Now I get to teach really millions of people on YouTube of how to overcome their fear of rejection. I get to train the salespeople and recruiters of some of the best companies in the world and some students at some of the best universities in the world. And this is all I wanted as an entrepreneur, is to dent the universe, and I'm doing it. So I want to find a world where we're not afraid of rejection anymore. I want to see how many dreams can be had, how many cool ideas can be realized, how many sales opportunities can be made, how many business can be built. I want to see that world. And I want you to join me in that world. So if you have stories you want to share with me, by the way, this is my LinkedIn profile, or you can search me. Connect with me and share your story with me. I want to hear your story. Or if your team, your colleagues, or even your friends and loved ones who's afraid of rejection, share my story with them. It's going to help. If it doesn't help, you can always buy them a box of donuts. That always helps. All right, thank you guys. Thank you. Thank you for hearing my story.